Today's lesson is Winds of Change, Understanding the Butterfly Effect. Hi, everybody. I am Roger.
Hello, I am Kiki.
And Kiki, do you like birds and butterflies and insects and things like that?
I am not a big fan of insects, but butterflies love me for some reason.
Oh, yeah? They like to land on you and bite you and things like that?
Not bite me, but they do like to land on me. And I feel bad. The thing is, I'm scared of them because they feel like they're so delicate that I don't want to hurt them.
Yeah, it's true. They are vulnerable, and I don't think butterflies live for a long time. Well, today we're not really talking about butterflies per se. We're talking about something called the butterfly effect, which refers to a concept about how things influence each other in the world. And it's kind of interesting, and it's probably something that you could all talk about amongst yourselves once we get done talking about this particular subject in today's lesson. So first of all, let's introduce this topic to you. Yeah, what exactly is the butterfly effect? Let's listen to the first paragraph right now.
Wings of Change, Understanding the Butterfly Effect. The butterfly effect is the concept that small changes can lead to significant consequences. It has often been associated with Ray Bradbury's short story, A Sound of Thunder, 1952. In the novel, a man travels back in time and kills a dinosaur, setting off a chain of events that completely transforms the world he had left behind. However, the butterfly effect is actually a principle of chaos theory, a branch of mathematics that looks at underlying patterns in seemingly random events.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 consequence， 它的意思是不好的结果、后果或是影响。例如 Poor grades are often a clear consequence of not working hard in class. 成绩不佳通常是课堂上不努力的明显结果。或者 I've considered the consequences and decided it's worth the risk. 我已经考虑后果，且认为值得冒险。
Okay, so here we're talking about Wings of Change. That's an interesting title because we often have a term in English, winds of change, which means things change in the future as time goes on. But here we're making a little bit of a joke because we are talking about butterflies. So we're changing the word wind into wing because butterflies, like birds, have wings. So these are the wings of change, and we want to understand the butterfly effect.
Okay, so what is it? Let's learn about the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is the concept that small changes can lead to significant consequences. Oh, that's very interesting. So the butterfly effect is the idea, the concept, that when something small changes, if you do something small, a slight change to something, it could lead to something else being changed, something bigger being changed, or in this case, significant consequences. And what a consequence is usually it's a result that isn't very good. People don't really want this type of result. It's unwanted. It might be a negative result. So, for example, if you, let's say, skipped work today, you will have to face the consequences when your boss finds out that you skipped work. So it's basically a negative effect of something else.
Now, we've got the obvious examples, of course. If you don't work hard, for example, or if you don't study hard, then it's going to affect your future. That is obvious. But the butterfly effect deals with smaller things, like, for example, if you got one answer wrong on a test, that could actually affect your future career. It's hard to imagine that, but that's what this theory is all about. We've got these small changes, but they could actually lead to huge consequences or huge results of that very small action. It has often been associated with Ray Bradbury's short story, A Sound of Thunder, which came out in 1952. Now, Ray Bradbury, of course, was an American science fiction writer. I think he wrote The Martian Chronicles and various other short stories. I remember reading quite a few of his short stories as well. But in any case, in the novel, a man travels back in time and kills a dinosaur, setting off a chain of events that completely transforms the world he had left behind. And so that's what happens in this short story or in this novel. A guy can time travel. He goes back in time, and when he's back in the age of dinosaurs, he kills one, and that starts or sets off a chain of events, and then the world he left behind is completely changed as a result.
However, the butterfly effect is actually a principle of chaos theory, a branch of mathematics that looks at underlying patterns in seemingly random events. So the butterfly effect is not just about small changes leading to big events or big consequences. It's actually a principle of chaos. So when something is chaotic or when there's chaos, it's when things are crazy and uncontrolled and sometimes you can't really explain what's going on. And this principle of chaos is basically a branch or a part of mathematics which looks at these patterns in things that look random to us, but they're actually not. Okay, so we're going to find out more about that. But first, let's listen to the second part of our article.
The term was coined by Edward Lorenz, an American mathematician and meteorologist who came up with it during his weather prediction research in the 1960s. In one of his weather models, Lorenz found that a very small change in starting conditions created a significantly different result. He likened it to the wind created by a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, potentially influencing a tornado in Texas several weeks later. Lorenz's findings had a significant impact on the way people understood scientific predictions. Up until then, scientists had drawn upon simpler models that directly traced the path between a cause, A, and an effect, B. The butterfly effect helped show that causes and effects do not have a purely linear relationship and are affected by external factors. Thus, it is extremely difficult to put forth accurate predictions.
第二部分看到名词 prediction， 表示预测、预告或是预言。例如 My prediction is that Steve will run out of money soon if he doesn't start cutting down on his spending. 我的预测是，如果 Steve 不开始削减开支，他很快就会花光他的钱。或是 William's prediction on who would win the race turned out to be correct. 事实证明 William 对谁将赢得比赛的预测是正确的。再来看到名词 finding， 表示调查或研究的发现结果。例如 Our findings conflict with those of the original study. 我们的研究结果与原始结果有冲突。也可以说 The scientists' findings confirmed that global warming is a significant problem. 科学家的研究结果证实了全球暖化是一个重大的问题。继续介绍形容词 external， 表示外来的、外面的或是外界的。我们可以说 External factors such as economic trends can impact the success of a business. 经济趋势之类的外部因素可能影响一个企业的成功。又或者说Lila's laptop has an external hard drive. Lila 的笔记型电脑有一个外接硬碟。
Okay, so again, we're talking about the butterfly effect. Well, the term was coined by Edward Lorenz, an American mathematician and meteorologist who came up with it during his weather prediction research in the 1960s. Again, we're talking about this term, the butterfly effect. If you coin a term, you just come up with a new term. You invent it. Nobody else used it before. This particular person was a mathematician who is an expert at mathematics. He was also a meteorologist. That's someone who studies meteorology, which is the science of predicting the weather. Of course, people on TV are meteorologists. Of course, they tell us the weather. They give us the weather forecast. They have a little bit of background in that particular science. And he had some weather prediction research done in the 1960s. If you predict something, you try to guess what's going to happen in the future, and prediction is the noun form. I'd like to make a prediction for the new year. John will get divorced from Mary. That's my prediction.
And usually a prediction is kind of a statement that somebody makes that they are saying that something in the future may happen, and they believe that it might happen. Continuing here, in one of his weather models, Lorentz found that a very small change in starting conditions created a significantly different result. Okay, so when he was studying his weather models, he found that a small change in the weather model started to create a change that actually ended up giving a totally different result.
Right. So in a nutshell, of course, he thought that if there's a very small change at the beginning, it could result in huge consequences later. It would kind of reverberate down through different systems, through chains of events. And of course, you get that big change. Now, he likened it to the wind created by a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, potentially influencing a tornado in Texas several weeks later. So perhaps people didn't quite understand what he meant by the butterfly effect or by chaos theory. So he gave an example here. He likened it to something like the wind would be created by a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil. Okay, that's probably not a lot, but if you have a butterfly flapping its wings, it might lead to other consequences down the chain of events, and eventually that would result in a tornado occurring in Texas many weeks later. I'm not really sure if that could actually happen, but you never know. And that's what birds do. That's what butterflies do. They flap their wings. They move them up and down when they want to fly.
Okay, and a tornado, we don't get much of those here, I don't think, in Taiwan.
I think there was one in Xindian many years ago, but
wow.
It's kind of small, but sometimes they occur off the coast near Kending, I think, too. But anyway, a tornado is a longjianfeng in Chinese. It's just a big bag of wind, basically, and they occur in different parts of the world. They're quite common in Tornado Alley in the United States, which is an area that stretches from Texas all the way up to Iowa and Minnesota. So, yeah, I'm from that part of the country. We were kind of scared of tornadoes when I was growing up, but I never actually saw one.
Okay, well, Lorentz's findings had a significant impact on the way people understood scientific predictions. So what he found out about this small change leading to big consequences, it helped a lot of people understand how to make better predictions in the field of science. So when they were making scientific studies, it helped them try to kind of predict their results better because of what Lorentz found. And basically what a finding is not just when we're looking for something, when we're finding something, but in this case, finding, the noun form is when you receive or when you've gathered information through studying and investigating a subject or a certain thing.
Right, so we could say, what were the findings of your survey, for example? What sort of results did you have? And those findings had a significant impact on the way people understood scientific predictions. Of course, scientists are trying to predict what happens all the time. Up until then, scientists had drawn upon simpler models that directly trace the path between a cause A and an effect B. So before that, before he came up with this theory, they drew upon simpler models. If you draw upon something, that just means you have something as your base that helps you reach a certain kind of conclusion. So they had these simpler models and they got information from them, and they basically just found a path between the cause A and the effect B. It was quite simple.
The butterfly effect helped show that causes and effects do not have a purely linear relationship and are affected by external factors. factors. Okay, so this understanding of the butterfly effect showed that cause and effect, when something happens and what happens because of this thing happening, it's not always a linear relationship. When something is linear, it's something that is arranged in a straight type of formation, or in some case, it's trying to describe a direct relationship about something. So in this case, cause and effect is not always linear. It's not always direct. Sometimes they are affected by external factors. So other factors outside of the situation. And that's what external means. External is basically the outside of something or things that are on the outside.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, we have all sorts of different possibilities that could happen after the wings are flapped in Brazil. We've got different air patterns forming and flowers kind of go back and forth, and that affects how bees pollinate them. Yeah, it's very complex, and all these things are part of a chain of events that are affected by all sorts of different things. So this is extremely difficult to put forth accurate predictions, or it is extremely difficult to do that. If you put something forth, you just present it, you make that prediction. And basically what he was saying is that, yeah, these predictions are actually more complicated than just cause and effect. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. Let's move on now to the third and final part.
At the heart of the butterfly effect is the message that everything is connected and that even the smallest actions can have far-reaching consequences. For this reason, the butterfly effect holds relevance in a wide range of fields. For instance, in economics, a minor policy change in one country can influence the global economy in unexpected ways. Similarly, in environmental science, small changes in one part of an ecosystem can give rise to major effects on a global level. Even in business, small actions can trigger a flood of new customers and help a business become successful. The butterfly effect is a fascinating concept that reminds us how complex and connected the world is. It challenges us to carefully consider our actions and decisions in everything we do.
第三部分看到名词 economics， 它的意思是经济学或是经济状况。例如I'm interested in economics, so I'm always keeping track of the market. 我对经济学感兴趣，所以总是掌握市场动态。又或者说 My sister decided to major in economics. 我妹妹决定主修经济学。接着介绍名词 ecosystem， 指的是生态系统。举例来说 The coral reef is an important part of the marine ecosystem. 珊瑚礁是海洋生态系统重要的一部分。又或者说 Planting trees can help repair the local ecosystem. 种植树木可以帮助修复当地的生态系统。最后看到动词 trigger， 表示引起或是引发。我们可以说 Albert's casual comment triggered an argument between him and Reggie. Albert 的随意评论引发了他和 Reggie 之间的口角。也可以说 Scientists are studying the factors that trigger certain behaviors in animals. 科学家正在研究会触发动物某些行为的因素。
Now, here in the third and final part, it says, at the heart of the butterfly effect is the message that everything is connected and that even the smallest actions can have far-reaching consequences. So that's the basis of this concept, the heart of the butterfly effect. It's this message or this concept or this idea that everything is connected. We all are part of one big massive system, and even the smallest actions can affect the whole eventually later on.
For this reason, the butterfly effect holds relevance in a wide range of fields. So because of this, because of the understanding that everything is connected in some way, a lot of different industries or a wide range of studies or a wide range of industries, they will take into consideration the butterfly effect. For instance, in economics, a minor policy change in one country can influence the global economy in unexpected ways. So here is an example of how the butterfly effect could be used in the field of economics. And economics is basically the study of how money is being transferred or the understanding and study of production and things being used, consumption and things like that. Basically money, right? So in the economics world, when a minor policy is changed or when a small law about money is changed in a country, it could affect or influence the global economy in unexpected ways. So even though a change is made in one country, it could affect a lot of different economies all over the world.
Yeah, it's kind of like a chain reaction. Of course, it takes a while for it to affect the entire global economy, but that's what this is basically saying. A small change in economics somewhere could have huge consequences for the whole world. And similarly, in environmental science, small changes in one part of an ecosystem can give rise to major effects on a global level. So yeah, if you plant this tree today, it could affect the climate of the world in the future. An ecosystem, of course, is an ecological system where you have plants and trees and animals and things like that, all part of a system, and they affect each other based on what they do. And even in business, small actions can trigger a flood of new customers and help a business become successful. So if you have some kind of small action by doing the proper kind of market research, for example, hey, that could trigger a flood of new customers. It could cause your company to have a whole bunch of new customers, and then your business would become successful. And of course, lots of other businesses would probably be affected as well.
Right, and that's basically what trigger means, to start something, to affect something to happen, or to cause something to happen. The butterfly effect is a fascinating concept that reminds us how complex and connected the world is. It challenges us to carefully consider our actions and decisions in everything we do. So we always have to consider our actions, cause and effect, right?
Absolutely. So be careful about what you do. Even the smallest action can have huge consequences in the future. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes Henny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们今天要来练习篇章结构的题型。那这次的文章是关于蝴蝶效应，题目有4个空格，可是有5个选项哦。我们就先来看这5个句子。 A 选项他提到 Lorenz's findings had a significant impact on the way people understood scientific predictions. 罗伦兹的发现对人们理解科学预测的方式产生了重大影响。这个选项的关键词有 Lorenz's findings, significant impact， 然后这边它就是有出现了人名，还有提到他的发现产生重大影响。 B 选项他说 Even in business, small actions can trigger a flood of new customers and help a business become successful. 即使在商业上，微小的行动也可能带来大量新客户，并帮助企业成功。那这个选项的关键词在于 in business， 在商业上。 C 选项 In one of his weather models, Lorenz found that a very small change in starting conditions created a significantly different result. 在他的一个天气模型中，罗伦兹发现起始条件的微小变化会产生显著不同的结果。那这个选项的关键词有 weather models 还有 Lorenz， 那这边就有出现人名，还有提到他的天气模型。那么选项 D In contrast, the butterfly can set off a chain of events that has impacts around the world. 相反地，蝴蝶可能引发一连串影响全球的事件。那注意这个选项有用到转折词 in contrast， 表示相比之下、相较之下或是相反地。那它可以用来连接语义相反或呈现对比的讯息。那么 E 选项他说 For this reason, the butterfly effect holds relevance in a wide range of fields. 基于这个原因，蝴蝶效应在各个领域都具有重要意义。那这个选项的关键词有 for this reason， 基于这个原因，然后句子还有提到 in a wide range of fields， 在各个领域。好，那现在看完5个选项要表达的意思，还有关键词语，我们就来做题目吧。好，第一个空格是位于第2段，那这个段落说明了蝴蝶效应这个词的由来。空格前一句提到说，这个术语是由美国数学家和气象学家爱德华·罗伦兹 Edward Lorenz 创造的。那他于1960年代在他的天气预测研究中提出这个术语。空格下一句他也有提到说，他把这比作巴西的一只蝴蝶拍动翅膀产生的风，可能会影响几周后德州的一场龙卷风。那从前后文我们可以推断，空格内容应该是在进一步解释罗伦兹的天气研究。这个选项 A 和 C 我们说都有出现人名罗伦兹，但是只有 C 它有关键词 weather models 天气模型，并且呢有说明起始条件的微小变化会产生显著不同结果，这就解释了蝴蝶效应的概念，所以是正确答案是 C。 好，再看到第2个空格，它位于第3段的第1句，它很有可能是这个段落的主题句。那空格后面句子提到蝴蝶效应这个概念出现之前，科学家们利用比较简单的模型来直接追踪原因 A 和结果 B 之间的途径。那么蝴蝶效应有助于显示因果关系并不存在纯粹的线性关系，并且会受到外在因素影响，因此呢，要提出准确的预测极其困难。那这些都是在说明蝴蝶效应的重要性以及影响。我们的选项 A 它就有提到罗伦兹的发现对人们理解科学预测的方式产生重大影响，那这个选项就会是正确答案咯。好，第3个空格它位于第4段，那前一句有提到蝴蝶效应的核心是一切都互有关联，即使是最微小的行动也可能产生深远的影响。那么空格后面的2句则举例说明了蝴蝶效应可能对经济学和环境科学产生影响。那选项1它提到基于这个原因，蝴蝶效应在各个领域都具有重要意义。句子里面有关键字词 a wide range of fields， 而且它可以承接上下文引出后面所提到的例子，所以是正确答案。再看到第4个空格，它是位于第4段的最后一句。那前面句子提到蝴蝶效应可能对经济学和环境科学产生影响，那选项 B 提到即使在商业上，微小的行动也可能带来大量新客户并帮助企业成功。那它是接续在经济学和环境科学之后来说明蝴蝶效应在商业领域的影响，所以是正确答案。那我们最后没有选到的选项 D， 他说相反的，蝴蝶可能引发一连串影响全球的事件。这一句放在任何一个空格都不适合，所以不能选。那么以上就是今天的讲解，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Consequence. Skipping class can have serious consequences, such as falling behind in your studies. Prediction. The weather report's predictions for tomorrow include heavy rain and strong winds. Tornado. During a tornado, seek shelter immediately in a strong building or underground space. External. It's important to focus on your internal strengths rather than external pressures from others. Economics. Economics helps you understand how money affects daily life and global events. Ecosystem. Protecting the ecosystem is crucial for preserving biodiversity and ensuring a sustainable future. Finding. The scientists' discovery was a groundbreaking finding in the field of biology. Trigger. Loud thunder can trigger a panic response in some people.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoyed reading along with us. I am Kiki.
I am Roger.
See you next time.